Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So we continue with another lesson in Microsoft Excel. We will discuss on pivot table. So the first one, we look at what is pivot table used for. So a pivot table is used to summarize, sort, reorganize, or group, count, total, or average data stored in a table. So it will allow us to transform column into row or row into columns, and it also grouping by any field and using advanced calculation on them. So why are pivot tables so important? So pivot table allow us to extract important data from complex data set by rearranging them in a way that is easy to analyze and summarize. So another important benefit of pivot table is that it helps to summarize data in a quick and easy manner. So the table helps in making a concise summary out of thousands of rows and columns of unorganized data. So with the help of these tables, you can summarize large amount of information into a small space. Okay, so we look at these samples data. So let's say we have this data. Okay, so we have a salesperson, region, account, order amount, and month. So in this case, so we have so more than 30 data. Okay, so we look at the first function in pivot table. So the first one, we will use to summarize data for amount sold by each salesperson. Okay, so to show you how to do this pivot table, okay, we will use this sample data. Okay, so the first one, we search for function pivot data. So click and insert, and then click pivot table. Okay, so in this pivot table, you have to choose the data that you want to analyze. So we can select from a table or a range of table. So in this case, we choose this data in sales. Okay, then we highlight all the data that we want to summarize. So we select all the data. Okay, and then you can choose where you want to the pivot table report to be placed. Either you create a new worksheet or you can use the existing worksheet. So in my case, I have designed total sales by each salesperson in this sheet, so I will using the existing worksheet. If you want to do in a new worksheet, then you just click new worksheet. Okay, then we click OK. So now we will get this table, pivot table. So to build a report, choose field from the pivot table field. So in this pivot table field, we have 4 columns. Okay, so the first one, filter, column, row, and value. Okay, so the first one, we will drag the salesperson. Okay, then we put at the row. Okay, at this row. And then we want to show the amount for each of these salesperson. Okay, so now we have answered this question. So what is the amount sold by each salesperson? So by using pivot table, we can select that particular person, yeah, by selecting either one salesperson, okay, or more than one. Just select which salesperson that we want to look into the data. Okay, so this is the function of pivot table. We can select and summarize all the data. Okay, so we look at another examples. We want to find out what is the total amount in each month. Okay, so based on this month, okay, we want to counted or sum of all the amount for each of these month. Okay, so I have to delete this function. Okay, we go to insert and then go to pivot table. Then we select the same data from this table. Okay, we just drag all this data. Okay, so now we are using the existing worksheet in this worksheet, total month sold in each month. So we click OK. So now we can select month. Okay, and then we select the order amount. Okay, so now we can choose which month that we want to know about the sales. Okay, for each month. Okay, so next, if we want to back to the original data, you just click clear filter for month. Okay, so we go another examples. Okay, so we can add column, or we call as include multiple column. In the first example, we just show sum of all the amount for each of this month. So now we want to add based on the region. Okay, so now we can use another function, another selected data for our pivot table. Okay, we go to insert, then we go to pivot table, then we choose data range. Okay, so in this table, okay, okay, existing sheet, we will use pt add column, pivot table column. So now we want to add column. So in the previous example, we have choose month, okay, and then we have displayed the order amount. Now we want to use another, we want to show another data. So we choose region, okay, and then we put at the column. Okay, so now we can see more data, more selected data, and we can summarize of this data. So based on this data, we will see what is the total amount for each month based on the region. Okay, so in this pivot table, we do not have to create the formula. Once you choose the pivot table, it will automatically calculate for you in it will calculate for you automatically. So you just make sure that you have selected the right data and put at the right region, at the right field. Either you want to put as a row data or you want to read as a column data. Okay. Okay, so I will continue another function using filtering and pivot table slices, and the last one we are using the pivot chart in the next video.